Wonderful. It's good to see you.
Và cái kênh
I
trên của các
see
chị
you
mình sẽ
before with
nhỏ
the
hơn một
white
xíu.
and the green and now the
Và
black.
thì mình
All
sẽ
right,
ngắn
all
khoảng
right.
7
Yeah.
cm.
What up, Notorious? What up, baby?
Sẽ đỏ trên
Oh, yeah, we in the house. I'm in preseason mode. I'm in
với cái hai
preseason
điểm.
mode.
It's good for
Bây giờ mình sẽ cắt
Okay.
It's good for
các điểm này nhé.
CIA. What's up, baby?
Hôm nay bạn nào có cái nói lời vệ sinh, các bạn
I'm
có
here
thể
in the
nói
house
gần
for
đến
y'all.
chị.
All right, you good, Mike T?
Let's roll.
All right, so preseason. You know what, Woody? I like that you brought that up because we got some things to get into, and we start our conversation today on First Take with Aaron Rodgers, y'all. He will officially not play in the Steelers' second preseason game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. A decision is still up in the air regarding him playing in the final preseason game. But with that great defense, the defense that is signature to who the Steelers have been, we've got that defense backing up the offense. Head coach Mike Tomlin has high hopes for what the new look Steel Curtain defense can be this season.
We feel really good about the prospects of this group. We do. We got to write that story, but we got enough talent. We got enough schematics to do big things. And when I say big things, I'm talking about historic things.
Historic things. All right, so D-Will, we're coming to you first. Is this Pittsburgh defense, is this going to be enough to make this group a playoff team?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, listen, with Mike Tomlin, over the years, the defense has always carried them into the postseason. I think the question that when we talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers over the years is the quarterback position. We saw last year coming down the stretch, the reason that the defense actually wore down is because the offense couldn't do anything. The defense was playing a lot more than they really should have on the field. And so when I look at this defense, they have all the requisite pieces that you need to go out here and be a really good defense. They got pass rushers. They're stout, as far as rush, against Russian teams. They got guys that can cover. And the biggest question mark is the quarterback. Can the quarterback go out there and operate this offense? Can they score enough points to keep this defense fresh? But as far as is the defense good enough to get into the postseason? Yes, because Mike Tomlin has never missed the postseason.
Now, that's a fact. But Mike T, I see you over there. Notes, you got your pen tap. You disagree?
Absolutely. In the AFC, in this day and age, guys, you have to score points. And when we think about Baltimore, Buffalo, Kansas City, even the Chargers, you have to be a point scorer to get in the postseason. And I believe in Mike T like anybody else. He's a Hall of Famer. They have 4 starters on defense over the age of 30. So Cam Hayward, Jalen Ramsey, Darius Slade, and T.J. Watt. And at some point, they could wear down. But more fundamentally, their quarterback's going to be 42. So Stephen A., I think, even though their defense can be really good, with a young offensive line, a quarterback that wasn't in the offseason program, who's not playing in the preseason, they're going to have to score. And to me, I worry about that. Not that he's not going to know what to do, but those young offensive linemen. So to me, it's a massive question mark. Even with a good defense, they make the postseason.
Well, the interesting part is that the specificity of editorial content. I mean, it would be me. That would be my lane. You see what I'm saying? Playing is your lane. Being an executive is your lane. The editorial content would be mine. But the specificity of it all, right? The reason I bring that up is because the question is to make the playoffs, not to win a playoff game.
Right.
See, to win a playoff game, that's a different animal. That's where what you said comes right into play, Mr. CIA. When it comes to making the playoffs, that's something that they found a way to do religiously. Somehow, some way, inexplicably, even against all odds, Mike Tomlin finds a way to make them relevant enough to get to the postseason. They weren't supposed to make it last year. But lo and behold, they ended up doing so because Cincinnati forgets to play the game of football, from January to mid-September, because they always start out. They're 1-11 in the first 2 games of the year over the last 6 years, which is pathetic, which calls for an investigation into Zach Taylor and his coaching staff. What the hell are you doing that y'all can't win games in the first 2 weeks of a season? That's just putrid, okay? We get that part. However, you're absolutely right when you talk about the potency of the offense, particularly in Cincinnati, and then Baltimore being probably the favorites to come out of the AFC in terms of their talent across the board. You look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, you're going to have to do more than having an elite defense in order to win a playoff game. But to make the playoffs, even though it's a bit compelling, I'm looking at you. You kept T.J. Watt. You still got Patrick Queen in the crew. I mean, like you said, they can cover. You drafted a defensive end in Harvin to come at, first round, 25th pick. What are you doing with him? He's going to be starting for you. So I'm looking at them and I'm saying, I don't expect their defense to dip. I expect their defense to elevate. And if your defense elevates within the AFC and you got a quarterback that doesn't really turn the ball over, which is what Aaron Rodgers is not known to do for the most part, I'm going to take those things into consideration. I'm going to say, yeah, that's enough to get them to the playoffs. But are you going to win a playoff game?
Monica, can I change lanes? Can I put my turn signal on and change lanes and jump into Stephen A?
Okay, I just want to make one clarification before you do that, though, Mike T. Mike Tomlin has never had a losing
season. Yes.
He has missed the playoffs 6 times, though.
Right, and I'm going to use some editorial data on this one, which is in the history of pro football, which is 100 years of data, there's been 2 quarterbacks to start a playoff game age 42 or older. Tom Brady, let's just throw him out, and Drew Brees started 1 game. So for Aaron Rodgers to do that, guys, that's an overwhelming amount of data and history to say at some point he will probably break down. And let's face it, are we sitting here, the 4 of us, confident that Mason Rudolph is going to lead?
Hell of a no.
Right,
Hell
exactly.
of a no.
Right. So what information do we have in the last 4 or 5 years that Aaron Rodgers is going to play in 17 games?
That's the wrong question. What information do we have that the Steelers can overcome the odds under the stewardship of Mike Tomlin? That's the question. You can bring up Aaron Rodgers all you want to. Aaron Rodgers, to me, ain't going to be worse than Russell Wilson. He ain't going to be worse than Justin Fields. He ain't going to be worse than Mason Rudolph. He ain't going to be worse than Mitchell Trubisky. He ain't going to be worse than a quarterback. He ain't going to be worse than Ben Roethlisberger was in the last year or two of his time in Pittsburgh, who's a future Hall of Famer. We love and appreciate Big Ben Roethlisberger, but they didn't stay too long. The bottom line is that over the last 6 or 7 years, we've had nothing to brag about in Pittsburgh from the quarterback position. As far as I'm concerned, Aaron Rodgers playing with house money. House money. I mean, listen, if he went out, as bad as 48 QBR last year, 28 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, about 3,800 yards passing, if he did that for the Steelers, we'd be happy. Compared to what we've been dealing with, hell yeah.
Here's the thing. You got to understand, there's a difference between what the New York Jets asked of Aaron Rodgers and what the Pittsburgh Steelers want to ask of Aaron Rodgers. Okay, the New York Jets asked Aaron Rodgers to be their savior and literally turn the whole franchise around. With the Pittsburgh Steelers, they just asked him just be the quarterback. Just operate this thing.
The year that Aaron Rodgers, the injury, the very tough year, the year he went to the Jets, I remember New York talking about this team potentially having what they needed on both sides of the ball, in addition to Aaron Rodgers. So I don't feel like the original plan before he got hurt was that far off from what y'all are saying. The Steelers have the potential to support him with now.
But Monica, there's something else fundamental in this conversation, which is I understand what your point is, Stephen A, about, okay, he's probably a better quarterback than what they've had. But the Cincinnati Bengals are 1-11 in September over the last couple of years. Look, if they just wake up and breathe, they'll be better than 1-11. I mean, that's unbelievably bad. They lose on opening day to New England because Gesicki fumbles the ball. So if they just hold serve in September, which, let's face it, they're the Bengals, but they have so much talent. I think Pittsburgh is the third best team in that division, and they're on the outside looking in.
Let me get this. See how you see I'm trying to be slick. Let me get this straight.
Xin chào các bạn, hôm nay mình sẽ hướng dẫn các bạn làm cây gậy
You
bằng
can pick up
làm cái
100
cây gậy bằng
years of history and piggyback
ống nhựa
off of that to
và
make
chúng
your
ta
point against the Steelers.
làm cho các bé chơi.
But we want to ignore the last 6 years of what we've seen from them. It's not going to be this way. It's not going to be this way. They can wake up and be better than they were. So in other words, we'll defer to history when we want to and ignore it when we want to. That's what we do, Mike J.
The juxtaposition of 100 years versus the
last 6. I would go with what transpiring over the last 6.
Do you want to have a charitable donation wager here that they are better than 1-11 from a percentage in the month of September? I mean,
hold on, not the month of September. Talk about the first 2 weeks of the season. That's what we talk about with the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah.
And I'm not willing to bet against Jamar Chase.
But I do. Again, I've been there. I've been in all-out war.
So Mike T, hold on. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being this is going to get done, how confident are we that that's how it's going to play out?
Yeah, that's totally fair, Monica. I would have said 3 weeks ago it's a 10, but I'm probably at an 8 at this point. He's too good of a player. And to Stephen A's point about the value of the franchise, Jerry Jones is not going to let a star in his prime leave that building.
I will say this. The one thing we can say about one thing that's different about this situation, Micah doesn't come off as a corporate type guy. Dak is a corporate type guy. CD Lamb seems like a corporate type guy.
Point.
That's a great point.
CD much less than Dak.
Right. Micah seems like the type of guy that I'm going to do me. And if you don't like it, then
Đó.
so be it.
Vậy là chúng
And
ta
I
được
think,
2-1.
honestly,
Còn màu
I think
tiếp
that's
theo
what ticks off
thì
Jerry
mình
Jones
sẽ lấy
more
màu.
than anything.
But no.
Mình sẽ để màu gậy ra
I
nhé.
interviewed Micah Parsons
Còn là
on
mình
my
sẽ cắt hai
on my
ba cái màu này
YouTube
một
show
lúc
last year.
cho nó nhanh.
He said on the air, on the record, he wants to
Giờ mình
stay
sẽ cắt
with
đều nha,
Dallas.
không
He
là nó
wants to
sẽ
sign with Dallas. He wants to sign early, even if it's
đó.
for less.
Được rồi, mình nghĩ là không
That's
cắt
what
được
he
mà phải bắn
said.
luôn.
He was
Nhưng mà vẫn
waiting.
được nha.
And Jerry Jones didn't. And then Jerry Jones
Đó.
came at
Mà
him
đến lâu
at a
hơn mình
later
cắt hai cái
date.
trước.
But by this time, you're approaching the summer, and he's like, yo, okay, yeah, there's things that I want. Sure, this is good, that's good, but talk to my agent. So my point is that you had an opportunity to take care of him. You had an opportunity to save money. You had an opportunity to prevent compromising yourself with the cap, et cetera, And in Micah Parsons' case, it ain't just about him being who he is and not being quote unquote corporate the way Dak Prescott is. It's also about the fact that I was willing to sign early. For less. Why are you acting like I'm somebody out here being greedy? No, what happened is the market changed because you delayed signing me early when I wanted to be signed. So Jerry wants his cake and to eat it too. And his whole thing is I got him under contract. My only issue with Jerry is not talking to his agent. That is inexcusable. We have a right to have representation, man. Most instances, you as an executive would tell us, where's your representative?
100%.
Why are we talking about it? Go get your rep. But you can have handshakes. You can have an understanding. Overall, I want to be here. Overall, I might be willing to accept X, Y, Z. But talk to my agent. To not talk to his agent and to at least one time say you didn't even know who he was. You don't know who one of the
Vậy là
best
chúng ta đã cắt
agents
xong.
in all of
Bây giờ chúng ta
sports
tiến hành làm
They
cái cánh
pull
sao,
together
ngôi
as
sao nhé.
one of the best
Rồi đầu tiên thì mình sẽ
in
làm như
the
thế này này.
business. Everybody knows him. How the hell are you going to say you did it? Come on now.
Listen, I
Come
think
on now.
that's a great spot to leave it. We got to leave it because we got a loaded show on this Friday edition of First Take. Coming up, Mahomes and the Chiefs offense has retooled this offseason coming off of an embarrassing loss in the Super Bowl. Could we actually be underrating how good they could be this season? And Brian Flores with a huge win versus the NFL as he now can go to trial. You do not want to miss what Stephen A has to say about this. That's coming up next.
Bạn lưu ý nó sẽ chiều theo khô một lúc nhé. Đã dần dần rồi.
I've been waiting for you, Obi-Wan. We meet again.